Hello and welcome to a new video. In today's video, we're gonna take a look at Machop. This Pokemon got upgraded with, of course, Karate Chop, which is good for Machop, I would imagine. But it has now access to one of the best fast moves, if not the best fast move in the game right now, which is going to be great as it generates a ton of energy, as it's going to be able to definitely destroy something like a Dunsparce here, and it's going to be just an interesting Pokemon. I have no idea how those battles are going to go. I didn't watch them or anything before, but so we're gonna have now definitely an interesting time seeing on how good this purified Machop is, which is actually quite important for this Pokemon. You don't have any other coverage other than a return basically for this Pokemon, and so purification is kind of necessary to have this Pokemon in a very solid state. Speaking of very solid, is also this matchup here, and I have no idea why the opponent tried to bring in their Sand Slash against the Machop. But so far, so Machop, we're going to see double KO basically from this Pokemon, and the opponent just forfeits now. Honestly, I really would like to build one now at this point already, because I feel like it's such a cool Pokemon. I like it a lot. I like a lot that we have like those tiny boys that all of a sudden have a little bit of play. If we actually take a look at PvPoke and see where Machop is ranked, I think it's in the top 300 or something, which for a pre-evolution is ridiculously high. And so definitely something very interesting to be seen. Here we're going to see the matchup of Machop against the Carbink. And I also would have, by the way, a Machop that I could purify in order to get a Hundo from it again. I actually only have one, but like this one is nearly a Hundo as a Shadow already, so I don't really know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'm gonna build a Shadow Machop for the Great League eventually. But anyway, we want to take a look here at that Machop here. We're gonna see the swap out into the Lantern. We're gonna have a return landing against this Pokemon, doing some massive damage. That is ridiculously good damage. And there's also a Charge Beam variant of Lantern for whatever reason. That definitely doesn't really make too much sense. Maybe they just didn't have TMs, who knows. But here we're going to have, of course, the Trailblaze coming through. And this is going to be definitely a knockout as the opponent forgot what shields are. Moving on, we want to have a Garchomp. Like, this is definitely interesting gameplay here so far. A Garchomp in the Open Great League. And I'm laughing. But there is a sad truth to it as well. I have 2 Garchomps built for the Great League, so I cannot really laugh too much about it. The videos actually back in the day as well came really well for those community days. But yeah, nowadays everybody kind of makes community day videos. Back in the day I was the only one. But yeah, Garchomp community day, still remember that video, that thumbnail back in the day when I have no idea what I was doing. But when Pokemon Go was a bit bigger as well. We're gonna see here the cross drop coming through against that Garchomp, and Machop is gonna chop them down. Counter Machop here in the back is quite an interesting pick, as he can go ahead and go into the low kicks, doing some neutral damage against them, doing some neutral damage against you, making it a bit of a tough one. A Power Punch actually in the back is going to be interesting as well. You might want to try to go for that big Earth Power, but you're only gonna get there if they're gonna go for a Power Punch here again, which they do, and you can now at least land this Earth Power, do quite some decent damage, and put them into farmland range, especially now for your low kicks. Low kicks going to have a great time here, getting all the energy, and in the back it's going to be a Bastion, and that's kind of funny, because you have literally 2 of the hardest answers on the team for Bastion, and then you die with the one Pokemon that's weak to it against it. Unfortunate. Unfortunate is also something that you can say about the next matchup here. But luckily the opponent decides to swap out here, even though the fast move damage is insane from the Melamar against you. But of course you have a bit of a difficult time against the opponent's Decidueye with your lead and your Sasop. But you have a great time against the Decidueye with low kick, so if you can somehow align yourself against this Pokemon, you might be fine, but the opponent very likely just gonna... What? You can get alignment? That is ridiculous. Can you actually win the battle with that? You can let any kind of move go through here. Everything is going to be resisted other than Brave Bird, I guess. Which they have, so great shield from you. It's going to be a Rapidash. You're going to decide to go ahead and go for the Trailblaze here. Would have went rather for the Exeter, doing a bit more standard damage, especially as you have to swap out there anyway. Exeter would have been the better play. And Exeter would have allowed for sure to already knock it out at this stage. But you're still going to be able to definitely knock them out here, but it's still going to be also a bit of a trickier one, because the Decidueye can go for the full farm down, and you know already what this means. The opponent might be able to get to another Brave Bird, which would knock you out. Exeter again would be the cheaper move to go for. Doesn't matter in this case. If this is a Brave Bird, it's going to be game over, and there was nothing you could have redone here, and that's fine, and we can move on to the next one. Honestly, while of course it's clearly not like high level gameplay here in terms of the Pokemon that you encounter, I really enjoy seeing some different kind of picks from the opponents here. Like something like a Melmetal, that's just enjoyable, I feel like. Like, it's one thing to always bring the crazy insane meta picks, but like bring a bit of spice into it, I feel like it's just kind of lovely, isn't it? So shout out to the opponent there. Very cool to see that kind of level of spice. Here we're gonna see the Aqua Tail getting shielded. I don't think you had to do this, to be fair. Power Whip, I guess, could have been a thing, even though the opponent had a shiny variant of it, which is very likely being caught during the community day. Yeah, Machop is not going to have a great time here, and you have to be careful because the opponent has access to the move Trailblaze, which is going to boost their own attack, but they decided to go for the Brutal Swing instead. Great fast move timing here from your Gastrodon, and this Body Slam is going to be able to get the shield, and you swap out, as I guess the charge moves usually should not be able to hit you here really, like Trailblaze is the hardest hitting move. Brutal Swing is going to be resisted, that's quite lovely, and Melmetal might go down to this little Machop. First cross chop carrying through, you need another one to knock them out. Let's see, you're going to be able to outspeed them there as well. Get the CMP tie win, get the win here in general as well with that, as the opponent has nowhere to go, and Machop is wrecking them. Horrific lead, that is not ideal. You're going to swap out into your low kicks, which actually can kind of deal with this Pokemon. This seems to be a Weather Ball, which I do agree, by the way, being the better fast move, charge move there on this Pokemon. In comes now something that you're very happy about not facing with your Machop, and something that you're even more happier use the shield against you, because there's no real reason to use a shield against you there, because the standard moveset doesn't include any charge move that is a dark typing. But you're going to be able to go for the full farm run here now with your little Gastrodon. This is going to be fine. This Summoning Voice coming through, and you can swap out into the Machop to do some nice damage against the opponent, and you should be able to outspeed them actually for the next two charge moves. Like, you should be able to get to both of them before them, but they decide to swap out into the Azumarill, making things very, very awkward, because now you can hit the return, and that is doing ridiculous amounts of damage. But you have to be very careful because you need this Pokemon to deal with that Abamas now. And while you get the shield here, actually this has, it is kind of awkward. Like, if you would have been able to survive the moves a bit more, like, it would have been definitely fine here. You're gonna try. Body Slam is not enough, sadly. I'm sorry, I think Body Slam is not enough here. Fairly certain it is not. And it is not until the opponent gets to a move here. You should have needed to go for the Earth Power. It doesn't really matter. Like, you would have not won the battle no matter what, I think. Maybe, actually. Maybe there was a chance of winning this battle if you went for the Earth Power instead. But, yeah, it's a bit of an awkward one for sure. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the next opponent now. Or we just gonna take a look at another Abamas now, apparently. So this time around from the opponent is going to be the lovely Altaria. As you're gonna decide to go for one charge move here as well. It's gonna be double debuffed. Double resistance, what I wanted to say. And so it's going to be definitely not doing too much damage, but your fast move is adding up quite a bit. And you try to get the shield from the opponent. I guess it does make sense. I guess it does definitely make a bit of sense, because your entire team is very weak against flying type Pokemon. You have to kind of rely on the Body Slam, and you need to get them into range. So I do actually agree with that play for sure here. Very interesting play from this player though. Also a very interesting team in general, being triple weak to flying type Pokemon. I mean, yeah, there's most likely something like a Talonflame is like the best kind of flying type right now. So like, it's not too scary. Flying type Pokemon, by the way, that's also something I wanted to go for the regional. I actually don't even know what is going to be happening for the regional. I'm recording it on the Thursday, just before I kind of get out of there. I don't have my team built. I don't have anything built yet. But I was thinking about Shadow Pidgeot for the Great League right now, which I'm maybe going to take a look here as well. Because I feel like flying type Pokemon have a lot of potential right now. But I mostly didn't bring it for the regional, but definitely an interesting pick. Actually, if you're currently a channel member, you most likely listened to this before the regional ever even started, so shout to you, congrats to you. There's a lot of content right now that is up for channel members already before like anybody else gonna listen to it, so shout to you as well. But anyway, we're gonna see the Weather Ball coming through here. This is going to be a loss, and we can move on to the next opponent. Cresselia. Cresselia is a pain. This Pokemon is pure pain. Great catch here though on the Grass Knot, and we see the swap out into the Golbat, which is horrible for you as well, as both of your moves are going to be double resisted, doing no damage whatsoever. And we already have at this stage 2 Pokemon that are great against Fighting type Pokemon. So Machop is not going to look too good. He should have went for one more extra fast move. That would have been way better for you, but it is what it is. You are not going to be able to outspeed the opponent now because of this, which is kind of like the one awkward thing, but it's just going to be the bait anyway. And as I decided to swap out now into the Cresselia, I'm fairly certain it's actually okay for you anyway, because they're not going to be able to farm me down with a fast move alone. They have to go for the Grass Knot anyway, and so you can use a shield, and that is fine. That is totally okay. We see the Grass Knot coming through. We can go ahead, go for the Body Slam, or go for the full farm down. That's also fine. Grass Knot is going to connect, and you have now a 2 shield disadvantage, but you have a Machop. And Machop is all that really matters in life. If you don't have a Machop yet, that is very sad for you, but Machop is all that matters in life. As you're gonna see here, getting the knockout, and as you're gonna see here in the back, you definitely screwed up here at this point because there's nothing you can do here, but we are not gonna talk about it because Machop is happy. Machop loves chopping, as you see here as well. Another chop, another Machop, and that is great. Anyway, we're gonna get the final shield here and you're gonna go for the Body Slam. You think that's great? But it's actually not, because it's not going to be enough, and the opponent can go for a charge move on the CMP type, found on your Machop, and that's going to be a good game here. We can move on to the second to last battle for today, which is going to be a Whiscash. What's the Whiscash doing here? We're gonna see a very old school Pokemon, actually a Pokemon that is on my list on Pokemon that I want to take a look at again, because Whiscash actually has quite some potential still. Actually has quite a lot of potential still. I feel like Machop nerf did not really matter too much for it. Like, yeah, of course, it did matter. Don't get me wrong, definitely did matter. But I'm fairly certain this Pokemon actually has quite a lot of play. Anyway, we're gonna see the Marowak coming in, which is a Ghost type, and you're definitely not very lucky with your Machop so far. Like, Machop landed up against so many Ghost types, which is quite rare, I would say. At least like in the meta that I am, I don't think Ghost types are that common. You see the odd Golurk, and that's basically it. Maybe a Sableye, but that's basically it, basically. So quite ridiculous that you always kind go up against Ghost type Pokemon here. But anyway, we're gonna see the Gastrodon trying its best. We'll be able to go down here, but we have the full farm now from the low kicks, which has to go up against the opponent's Dugong. The opponent, I think, went for 3 fast moves here at this point, so you can swap out straight away apparently. You could also just stay in for a bit more and then try to catch a move, which I would have most likely done there. But I am very much confused here about this play, but we're not going to talk about it. We're going to go ahead and go for the full farm down, nearly. But there is a lot of strange things happening here, which is fine. Not effective move, Whiscash in the back, and the opponent forfeits or something. No, actually you're going to be able to just completely destroy him with low kicks. I have literally no idea how this happened, why this happened, why did they not farm on the Machop there with 1 HP. Who knows? I don't know. We can move on to the final battle now. I honestly feel like that's not ideal to stay in here. Yes, you're weak to this Pokemon, everybody knows. But also, you just gave the opponent an opportunity to farm up extra energy. And I'm not too sure if I'm a fan of that idea, but I am also not too sure if I'm a fan of Steelix. Steelix, like, was there, got a buff, got a nerf, and vanished immediately, so I find it kind of interesting. Like, the place currently for Steel-type Pokemon in the meta is not very existing there. Like, there's not really a lot of good places for Steel types. But I feel like Steelix is actually one of the Steel types that have the most amount of potential in the current meta, because you have a very hard-hitting fast move, you have Psychic Fangs, which is quite lovely in the current meta with Clodsire, and you have good bulk, and you have a Shadow variant which helps you out as well. So I feel like definitely for the Steel type Pokemon, Steelix might be a bit underrated, might be a Pokemon we should take a look at on this channel here as well. But anyway, let me know in the comment section as well, which Pokemon do you think are currently underrated in a Pokemon Go PvP? Which Pokemon are there that I should try out for the channel? Let me know in the comment section. Would really appreciate some feedback there. As, yeah, like, I'm not running out of ideas, not even close. But still, I love to have input. I definitely love to see what you're saying in the comment section there. Always kind of helps me out. So feel free to do so. As we're gonna see here, Steelix still gonna go down there, but we're gonna have this farm part now against your Gastrodon. And spoiler alert, this is not going to be a win for the Gastrodon. And so, this is going to be it for this video. Thanks so much for sending in the gameplay with Machop. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for that. And yeah, if you want to send in your own gameplay, link is in the description down below every single time. And I'll see you then. Bye bye.